Morning. Happy Monday morning. I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday morning. I am enjoying some coffee and a lot of water. And just generally doing some self-care after the weekend. I hope you guys are too. I hope that you had an amazing weekend. Like, I hope your weekend was phenomenal. I finished Mistborn Era 2 over the weekend. So, lots to talk about, right? Because we covered Mistborn Era 1 and my thoughts on that. I believe I gave it an 8 out of 10. Now we've read the 3 books that are released in Mistborn Era 2. That's not all of Mistborn Era 2, I've been told. The Lost Metal kind of falls with those characters, but I can't read the Lost Metal, I've been told. I've been told lots of things. I can't read the Lost Metal until I've read some of the Stormlight stuff. So my reading order going thus far is going to be Way of Kings, Warbreaker, Stormlight books, then coming back to the Lost Metal, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that that's the route that I'm going on with it. But what did I think of Era 2, right? So, the 2 main male characters in Era 2 are Wax Ladrian. He is like the Lord of the Ladrian house, and Wayne, I don't think I ever get his last name. He doesn't talk about his family situation. We learn a little bit about his background from when he was like a bad guy or a crook, kind of, but we don't really learn his family situation. So, what did I think of the books? I will say that they were a lot easier to get through than Mistborn Era 1. They were quicker reads. There was less filler in Era 2 than there was in Era 1. I did like Era 2 just a smidgen more than Era 1. Just because of connections to the characters. The comic relief in Era 2 is absolutely on point. Like, I loved the comic relief that I got from Era 2. Wayne has always got something sassy to say, something snide to say, something sassy, whatever. And I absolutely love that in a book. That is, even if I'm reading about a Holocaust survivor, if you can put just one good funny line in it, you've got me even more. So I love Wayne's comic relief in this. I understand why it's considered Era 2 and why you need to have read Era 1, because a lot of characters kind of blend into Era 2. They talk about Vin, they talk about the survivor, they talk about Harmony, and in fact Wax has a full conversation with Sazed. So yeah, you definitely have to know what's going on. Some of the Khandra show up. I'm going to mess up so many of these names, I know. But Melan, M-E-L-A-A-N, she plays a huge role in Era 2. A huge role in Era 2. Where she's kind of just briefly introduced during Era 1. So, what else? There are some supporting characters that I really love. You've got the 2 female supporting characters. So, Wax in the opening book for this series, he is living kind of out in the outskirts of town as like a lawman, and unfortunately he comes into a situation where he has to kill somebody who is like a beloved person to him, like a significant other, and it really messes with him, and he goes back into the city. and takes over as the head of the Ladrian, I'm really not sure how to say it, but his family tree, because his uncle and sister are supposedly dead. And so he's kind of like the last of his line left. So he has to marry, right? Because his family's low on money, but they've got status. So he needs to marry somebody who has money, but maybe wants to rise in status. That's the way that things worked at that time. And enter Sterys, who is his fiance and her cousin sister. I say cousin sister because she's first introduced as a cousin. We later learn as a sister. And I'm going to mess up her name this whole video, but I believe it's Marcia, or yeah, like Marcia. I'm not sure how to say it, okay? It's not Marissa. I know that for a fact. It's like Marissa. Marcy. Something like that. And so I love the character of Marcy. She kind of goes through and finds her own self. There is some budding love interest between Wax and Marcy, which is, you want them to be together, but on the same vein, I really like the way that everything ended up. I'm not going to do a lot of spoilers, but yeah, I just really enjoyed this series. They were much quicker reads for me. They were super well done. I liked the former characters that came back. I liked knowing more about people. I loved my brain is just mush today, you guys. I loved the humor and the comedy levels that were in this era that were not in so much the first era. So yeah, if I gave Era 1 an 8, I would give Era 2 an 8.75. Almost a 9. I previously had been like, maybe it's a 9 for me, but 8.75 is where I feel comfortable. I don't think it was that much better than Era 1, but just like a touch, a hint. Just mostly because of Wayne's character for me. I really enjoyed Wayne's character. If you were to ask me my favorite character in the series, it would probably be Marcy, or maybe even Milan, the Conjure. So yeah, that is kind of what I felt about it. I did enjoy when prior characters would pop up, like I said, they talk about Vin, or Sazed is kind of in the background because he's taken his ascension to Harmony and everything. So definitely 8.75 for me. Love these books. Benched them in like a week and some change. If you haven't read Mistborn Era 1, Era 2, give it a read. Super good books. Huge Brandon Sanderson fan was made out of me from the Mistborn series. So what else do we have coming up? Well, on Wednesday, we are going to do our month in review for January. I read a lot this month, you guys. Man, I've read 15-ish books for the month of January. What does that mean for me? Well, it sets me up for a really hard month to beat for the rest of the year, first of all. It's going to be difficult for me to read more than 15 books in a month. But you know me, I'm always up for a challenge. I'm always up to try to better myself. So, who knows? I'm keeping my reading goal at 100 books for the year, though. I told you I'm not upping that strictly because I don't want to put that kind of pressure on myself. If I have a month where I just don't read a lot, like I don't know what August and July is going to look like for me because of a huge trip that I have coming up. And there's a very good possibility that I might only read 5 or 6 books in each of those months. You know, who knows? So yeah, I don't like to put that much pressure on myself. The only reason I even say 100 book goal is because I know what I'm capable of. And I know that it's just sheer laziness on my part if I don't read 100 books. So Wednesday we will have our month in review. And then, yeah, been reading the Berkman family series. I say Berkman brother, but the first 2 books are about brothers. The 3rd book I'm getting ready to read is about the sister Freya, and I'm going to do a video on those books because I have so thoroughly enjoyed those. I think there's 5 or 6 in the series. I had never read anything by this author before, so I am really, really happy to share the series that I found. Other than that, just take care of yourself, you guys. Like, truly, I have got the water, I've got the cough drops, I've got the vitamins all here on my desk. We're talking self-care for February, right? We are not running ourselves ragged. We're not getting sick. We're not doing any of those things. We are self-caring, okay? I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing week, and I'll see you on Wednesday.